Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. As a lot of you have probably seen over the last maybe, 6 to 14 months, maybe somewhere around there, the Liver King, also known as Brian Johnson, that's his real name, Liver King is his social media name, absolutely blew up and took over the internet. He blew up on TikTok, he blew up on Instagram, he blew up on YouTube, he's been on a bazillion podcasts, he's created tons of viral content. He is the man behind a handful of supplement companies, with the main one that most people know of is their, I believe it's called Ancestral Supplements. And obviously this dude is huge. He's like jacked out of his mind. He does crazy workouts like twice a day. He's always posting, the crazy like raw meats that he's eating and the raw organs, bone marrow, and then these crazy workouts. I think he calls one of them like the barbarian, and then like the super barbarian, and like sled pulling, and all this crazy stuff. But along the way, this whole time, he has lied about his usage with performance enhancing drugs. And for people who are into fitness, this was pretty obvious from day one. There are individuals out there who can have a physique similar to his, but those are incredibly rare individuals in terms of their genetics allowing them to do that. There's always been one big thing around the Liver King that made it pretty obvious that he has been using PEDs or used PEDs at some point, and that was the fact that his gut is huge. As a lot of you probably saw, he finally got exposed in his lies. Derek from moreplatesmoredates.com exposed everything. There were leaked emails directly to Derek that he was sitting on for, I don't even know how long, probably over a year. And he obviously, More Plates, More Dates has speculated on Liver King's PED usage multiple times, multiple videos, the natty or nots, that type of stuff. But it all came down. It all came down on Liver King. And now he's here to apologize, and we're here to rate the apology. So let's roll into it.
I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Because I lied. And I misled a lot of people. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous. And after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure in the public eye.
So right off the bat, I will say this is a blatant lie right off the bat. He, as we saw from leaked emails and stuff, he had the goal of blowing up on social media. They had a goal of like 1 million followers in 12 months or something like that, and he actually did beat that goal, which is pretty fucking insane. Like, that's a goal that I'd hope to be able to beat as well. But right off the bat, so right there's already the first lie in his apology that he didn't expect is the persona of the Liver King to blow up the way that it did, when in fact they planned for it to blow up the way it did. All that viral content was planned very, very well. It's very calculated.
It's been tricky as fuck to navigate. Well, clearly I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids, and yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune.
If I'm understanding this correctly, he just said that he takes PEDs because other people kill themselves. Is that what I'm understanding? He just said that he takes PEDs because other people have depression? Is that what I'm understanding here? Not a very good reason to justify PED usage. On a more serious note, that's not a good reason to take PEDs, obviously, but the fact that he is trying to reach those individuals who are, they're unhappy, they're unfulfilled, and try and push them in a better direction, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'd say that that is a fantastic thing to be doing. That's something that he should be incredibly proud of. That's a great mission to have and to get behind. So no, it's not a good reason for PED usage, but to try and reach out to these individuals that are really suffering and try to guide them on a path that's better in some way, that's a great thing to do. Whether you hate this guy or not, it's hard to argue that that's not a good thing to be doing.
Our young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist. While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
And again, for anybody in the fitness space, it was pretty, like anyone who fell for the idea that this guy was natural either doesn't know what PED use looks like, which is fine because a lot of individuals don't. So, if you don't know, if you're not deep in the fitness space, you don't know any better, I don't blame you. That's not your fault. But if you're into fitness, if you're deep into fitness, especially if you're a fitness influencer and you thought in any way or told people that this man was natural, you're a fucking idiot. It is so plain and simple. Bro, his GH gut is out of control. This dude is round from the side. His gut is huge. You know why that happens? Human growth hormone. It's been pretty obvious from day one that this guy was not natural. So for those that are in the fitness space that actually fell for this, I'm sorry, you're naive, you're stupid. It was plain and simple, obvious from day one. If you're not in the fitness space and you still fell for it, not necessarily your fault. You didn't know any better because you don't, maybe you're not deep into the fitness space. This isn't, this isn't your type of concern.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that
his ancestral message is to live the ancestral lifestyle through his tenets. That's, getting outside, being grounded, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what all the tenets are. But somehow he convinced himself that synthetic hormones were not against the ancestral message. Am I hearing that correctly? He said, I convinced myself that this wasn't against the ancestral message. Yeah, because cavemans had synthetic hormones.
I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating? I convinced myself that this topic was a placeholder for a far more important conversation. I convinced myself that this would overshadow the 36 years of working out, usually twice a day, without PEDs. I've convinced myself that this was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive conversation. And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys. So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole.
Well, I don't like that he lied about PED usage. He does have a good point that being open about it can be harmful considering the potential viewers out there. Obviously, being open about your PED usage is important in the fitness world because people need to know the truth. But at the same time, that's like, for example, he's on TikTok, right? And TikTok is a very young audience. That's not necessarily something you want to be open about, or it's not that you don't want to be open about it. It's that you don't want to put the information out there because you don't want young guys hopping on this type of stuff. You don't want, 18-year-old kids hopping on Test or HGH or something like that. So I get that he lied about it to protect young men, but is that really a good reason? I really don't know.
I have only myself to blame. I did that. And it was all wrong. I will be better. I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. In 2021, when I was 43 years old, I didn't feel 100% physically or cognitively. So I went to get monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician to see what the fuck was going on with my life.
And he's not lying. For a lot of guys, test levels fall with age. There's a lot of things can happen with your hormones with age, and you're simply just not going to see the performance in the gym that you would otherwise, or just your everyday performance. Like, guys with low test are living really, really shitty lives. So he's not wrong. There is a time and a place for synthetic hormones to be introduced into your life to improve your life as a whole. I 100% agree with that. For any of you out there who have experienced what it's like living with low test, it's not fun at all. So yeah, like he's not lying about that. He's definitely right about that.
So yes, it's true. I have tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal level. So yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and I finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes, This is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone per week, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week. And no, I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or winstrol, but I have tried them in the past without success.
I will say 0.6 cc's of test, so 120 a week, really not actually that much. That's actually pretty low. Like, you look at his just sheer size of this dude, he's a big motherfucker. Granted, I think he's kind of on the short side, and short guys generally have a much easier time looking buff, but 120 a week for that size is actually a pretty low dose. Like, this is gonna sound crazy to a lot of you. I'm on more than 120 a week, and obviously I'm not